Hello friends, welcome to today's daily devotion. I'm Kerry Wood, pastor of the Goldston Methodist Church in Goldston, North Carolina. We are a global Methodist congregation, and therefore it is our mission to make disciples of Jesus Christ and to spread scriptural holiness across the globe. Friends from Goldston Methodist Church, I hope you are beginning to memorize that mission statement, that you're beginning to internalize this mission statement so that as we go through these devotions together, learning what it means for us to be free to be holy, that it will become exactly who and what we are. This week we have been exploring Jesus' words in the Gospel of Matthew. First in Matthew chapter 5 and now in Matthew chapter 22. And so we're going to close out this week with two more verses that are part of that conversation that we started reading yesterday when this enemy of Jesus has asked him a question trying to trap Jesus into some kind of a blasphemous statement. Well, obviously, he didn't get it out of yesterday's comment to love God with all heart, soul, and mind. That is absolutely parallel and congruent with everything that God said in the Hebrew Scriptures, in the Old Testament. So today, let's see what happens next. Grab your Bibles, open them up to Matthew 22. We're going to read verses 39 and 40. Let's share these words together. Jesus continued, and the second is like it. Love your neighbor as yourself. All the law and prophets hang on these two commandments. Now, yesterday, the guy asked Jesus, what is the greatest commandment? And Jesus responded. But then today, Jesus is immediately answering. Recognize that this isn't 2 days in the original context. Jesus is saying these two things all right together. Love the Lord your God is the first and greatest commandment. And the second commandment, I know you didn't ask me this, my friend, but I'm going to tell you anyway. The second commandment is like it. Love your neighbor as yourself. Now, when Jesus said this in Luke, the guy came back with, well, who is my neighbor? And Jesus tells the story of the Good Samaritan. And the Samaritan was the enemy of the Jew. The Jew is the enemy of the Samaritan. They did not like each other. They did not get along with one another. And yet it is the Samaritan who shows love to the man who was beaten up on the highway. Well, this brings me back to Matthew 5. You've heard it said, love your friends and hate your enemies, but I say to you, love your enemies and pray for them. My friends, all of this is so intertwined that it can only be the beauty and the glory of God that makes us understand it. For you see, if I love God with all that I've got, that automatically becomes a love of others with all that I have. There are no exceptions to how we ought to choose to engage with the world. I got to tell you that there are some people that I have experienced in my life that I have not liked at all. They have rubbed me the wrong way. Some of them have even done things maliciously against me. They have impugned my character. They have attacked me with no cause, at least in my mind, with no cause. And I have wanted with everything that I am to just have nothing whatsoever to do with them. Jesus challenges me in that response. And he says, no. Even that person, your enemy, is your neighbor. Love them. Pray for them. My friends, if it wasn't for this implied promise that every time there is a commandment, there is the ability given to live into that commandment, I'd never make it. So what is that ability? Well, it's God's grace. God's grace covers the gap between what my capabilities are and what God's capacity is. God is able to do more than anything we ask or imagine, as the Apostle Paul tells us, because He is at work within us. And so all the law, all the prophets, all the teachings, all of the religion, everything about who and what we are, hang on these two things. Love God with everything. Love your neighbor as everything. That, my friends, is what holiness from the Scriptures looks like. And I'll see you on Monday for our next daily devotion.